Hey everybody, Danny Mard here. So this week my daddy's down and we had a conversation yesterday about how to release the golf club, and there was a little bit of confusion from him because he'd seen a lot of YouTube videos, and some people are talking about rolling their hands around through the impact area. Some people are talking about rotating through and holding the club much more stable. He's a little bit confused about when do you release. He knows that you're not supposed to release from here, but when you hold this angle down here, when do you release that angle? And I thought, well look, why don't we create a video for my dad, but I thought it might benefit you too, because it has been a popular question on my channel. So what we're going to discuss is what actually happens at the impact area through there, so you can actually hit much straighter shots. When do you release, how do you release, etc. But it's a little bit of a trick question, and one of the reasons why I haven't created a video is because the release happens so fast. The release itself is often a byproduct of a delivery position that happens before release, right? So we can talk about trying to get into a great position here. So ideally you'll see a lot of players in the release position where what's happened is they've turned here, they form this triangle here, their arms are pointing directly forward, there's a turn of their hips, and they're extended out in front of them. Well, that's great, but the problem is if you're in the wrong delivery position beforehand, and I teach you that, you'll never get there, right? And as I was having this conversation with my dad, he was saying, look Danny, when I'm swinging, I want to know what to do from here, when do I release there? And as I'm showing him this, what do you see here? His club is so far behind him that he can't ever really get into that position and with a nice stable club head, because from here, from this delivery position coming in, the club is too far inside here, and from here, if he swung through it, he'd go to the right. So his release always has to be a roll of the wrists in order to correct that, right? And vice versa, you're going to get some people with a delivery position that's coming from out to in, right? And when they release now, if they release it through here, they'd hit it left, so they have to manufacture a different type of release, which is holding the blade open to cut it, right? So there is absolutely no point in working on a release here until we've sorted potentially your delivery position out, okay? Does that make sense? So the next question is what is the correct delivery position? How do you get into it? It's really simple. What we're going to try and do here is this, okay? I want to show you a couple of angles, nice and simple. what we do is we want to imagine this is a 90-degree angle here, right? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the club. I'm just going to simply put it at a 45-degree angle here, right? So this is 90, this is 90. I'm going to move the club into a 45-degree angle here with my right hand on top. From this position, I'm going to move the club up here, right? And then watch this, as I come back down here, I'm going to move it back into this position here, and it's back in, look, as a 45-degree angle. But what you'll see here in a second is the hip line here is also at 45 degrees here. And if you look from this position here, I do it from this angle here, as I swing up and I come back down here, notice the butt here, the hips are open, right? And almost the hips now are matching the shaft line. From there, I'm in a wonderful position to strike that ball, right? And from this position, there's going to be no flip. Why? Because I'm attacking from the right place. There's going to be no slice because I'm not attacking outside. I'm working it up here, working it back down at a 45-degree angle. Now from this position, all I'm going to do now is continue to allow the weight of the club to drop now to the ground as I come through, and that then becomes my release, okay? So that is the most important thing about getting into the correct release position. Is what we want to be able to do is you've got to get into delivery first. Let me show you that again. How have we done this? We take the club from here, that's 90 degrees, that's 90 degrees. We're going to move the club to 45 here. We're going to work it up now, right? Okay, nice and high. Now from this position here, as I bring down, I'm going to hold my frame. I don't want to be turning now. I want to hold this part of my frame, and as I move downwards now, my hips have moved to 45, the club has moved to a 45-degree angle, and I'm now in a perfect delivery position to strike that ball. From there, I just let the club flow through. Let me show you what this looks like in action. So, from here, working back, work the club up in position. We're going to back down to 45 here, 45 there, away we go. Back and through. And the great thing about this is as you're doing this, you can see here, I'm continuing the down force on the ball, all right? So I'm still getting the pressure, okay? The pressure's going down, that's how we release it. We don't want to be releasing this way because the pressure's going away from the ball. This way, I'm coming up, I'm releasing the club down, pulling the club down here. The hips have moved to 45, the club's matching that 45-degree angle here. And from there, I keep the down force on and my body beautifully reacts and I fire that ball nice and straight. Now let me show you how this works with a driver and also using an extra training aid. So here I am now looking at a driver swing, right? So does the same thing work with a driver? And the answer is absolutely. So what we've done here is we're getting ourselves set up. Now I'm going to put in the top left hand corner here a video that I did put on a week or so ago and using this exact exercise, right? But it will really help you understand how you move through the shot with the driver using the same principles. So watch this. So you basically take your lead hand, put it on top, your backhand, put it underneath. Get yourself set. Now with driver, most people have they're often trying to work the body too far around here, the club around the body. We do not want that. What we want here is we want to work the club up into position, right? Now from this position, as we come down, right, our lower body's leading this motion, right? The lower body's leading, we're putting pressure into the ground with the lower body. Now watch this. As you get, now look at that, that's the delivery position. What do you see? Everything now, hips 45, pull 45. Now from here, we're simply just going to continue letting the gravity fall through. And the difference between this and an iron shot is because the ball's forward now, as opposed to back, watch this. This would be an iron. As I come back down here, I'm rotating my lower body, but this is resisting slightly. I get to that 45-degree angle and then bang, I'm striking the ground, right? But with driver, watch this. The ball's forward, so now watch. As the ball's forward, I now naturally start to strike up on that ball. So we get from here, that's the pressure down, and then watch this. As we get to here, there's a firing upwards. That is how we then get the strike with driver and we get the launch with driver, all right? Let me show you how this works. So with driver, what we're gonna do here is exactly the same. So we get ourselves set, we come back, we're working it up here, we're gonna bring it back down, look, into those 45-degree angles here. So my hips now 45, delivery position is perfect, it's not stuck inside, it's not out there, it's coming back to 45. I haven't opened up my body here, firing in position there. From there, I'm going to allow my gravity to fire through now, let the weight fall through, and my body react to that movement. Let's have a look. Pretty good for the first one of the day. Okay, so look at the common misconceptions. I wanted to teach you how do you release the golf club through the impact area. Look, most of us know now that when we come through, we want to, in a sense, be in this position here where we're stretching. We've got a triangle here and we're pointing in front of us here with our hips turned through. The problem is getting there is not as simple as it sounds, you know. If you're in the wrong delivery position just before, you're going to have to kind of make some compensations, right? So if the club is attacking too much from this position, as my dad was, you're going to have to roll your wrists. If your club is attacking too much from this position, while you're the over the top typical slicer, you're going to have to open the club face, otherwise your ball's going to go left, hence the slice. So the key thing to understand is what we want to try and do here. To get the correct release, we've got to get the club working up into position here, and then when we're here, we want to get the club back into delivery. So as we're turning back down from the ground upwards, we're turning back down here, we're getting the club back into delivery. 45 here, look at my hips here. Again, 45, club pointing, my butt's pointing, just missing my left hip. From there, you can hit it very hard and keep the club face very, very square. That is how you get the correct release every single time. So I hope this really, really helps. I know it's a confusing subject sometimes, but remember, the release is just simply a byproduct of what goes on before. Get this right before, and you'll be on to a winner. All right, so I hope my dad enjoys this one. I hope you do, Dad. But if you do and you think some of your friends might enjoy it, then don't forget to share it. I really appreciate it. And of course, if you're enjoying the content and you'd like to receive it in your inbox every week, don't forget to press the subscribe button and the bell. Until next week, have a great golfing week.